What I liked about Assembly Renewables is that you were going to do this as one job, and I wasn't going to have to go out and source the second company and check a second company out for, two separate jobs. So that was really important to me. They were quick, as was the survey, actually. You were the people who came in first with the survey and said, okay, we can do that next week. I'd describe it as exciting. I got confidence from the process that you set up leading up to that installation. Really impressed. And the guys, Fred and Richard, worked really hard. I'm Alison. I've had my heat pump and solar panels installed by Assembly Renewables in May 2025.
Yeah, brilliant. And Alison, what was it that made you interested in solar panels and heat pumps? What was it that caught your attention?
I've just moved house, and I've been interested in solar panels, for example, for a while now, but decided it wasn't going to be cost effective to do it in a house that I was about to, or was planning to leave. So as soon as I moved, I knew that I wanted solar panels. Yeah. I think the bigger decision for me was about the heat pump, but I was completely swayed really by moving into somewhere that didn't have mains gas. And as a result, I inherited a central heating system, heating and hot water, and a gas hob run from Calagas cylinders. And I was completely shocked at the cost of them. So I was looking for something that was going to be more cost effective, but more than anything, I wanted a system that's going to kind of work together with the solar panels.
When you inquired online, who was it that you spoke to first? Which one of the experts was it that you put in touch with?
Jacob, I think I spoke to you.
Spoke to me first. Oh, brilliant. And then who?
That expert.
Yeah. Who did I pass you on to?
So I then spoke to Tom.
Tom, yeah, of course. And I mean, how was it with Tom? First contact and your first experiences of Tom.
Was really impressed by is that he was quite prepared to talk to me about the heat pump and the solar together as a package. And I decided at that point that I wanted to go for a heat pump, but other companies that I'd approached were looking at them separately. So I had a separate one for solar panels, separate one for a heat pump. And I actually wanted this as a working system that's going to kind of naturally, my solar panels are going to power the heat pump. It's important that it all worked together, and I understood that well. What I liked about Assembly Renewables is that you were going to do this as one job, and I wasn't going to have to go out and source the second company and check a second company out for, two separate jobs. So that was really important to me.
But other than that, was there anything else that, made us stand out to you at the first point of contact?
Tom was extremely knowledgeable.
Yeah.
He fielded any question I threw at him. And I threw quite a lot of questions, really, because I wanted, I'm living on my own, and I just wanted to be sure that this was the right decision in the first place to replace my Calagas system or central gas system with a heat pump. I wanted to be sure that was the right decision. And then I wanted to know as much as possible how it was going to work in this house.
Yeah. And then obviously talking about, it working well in your house and, having suitable areas and things like that. Obviously we came out and did a initial survey for you. How was the surveying process? Who was it that came out to do the survey? Was it Rob?
Yeah. So Rob came to do the survey, and, I was warned this was going to, it takes some time to do the heat loss survey. So I was prepared for that. He answered any questions that I had. He's a nice guy, and it was fine. I was absolutely happy to let him go around the house. He explained what he was going to be doing. And then we walked around afterwards and looked at what he was going to, which rooms were not going to be, the radiators weren't up to scratch, for example. And talked about where the heat pump might sit and where the hot water tank, which I didn't have previously, was going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And where did the hot water tank end up?
The hot water tank, not an issue at all. I thought it might be, but the hot water tank has ended up in my loft, which is great, which means that I've got an extra storage cupboard because they took the boiler out from a cupboard upstairs that I can now use freed up storage space. So I was really happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was the quoting process like after that? After obviously you'd got back in touch with Tom post survey, how did you find that?
There were lots of elements that go to make up the quote.
Yeah.
Understandably, now I've had it fitted, I understand this is the complexity of the work that needs to be done. But actually, in terms of the communications, they were really good. They were quick, as was the survey. Actually, you were the people who came in first with the survey and said, okay, we can do that next week. Yeah. Whereas I'm like waiting 6 weeks for a heat loss survey from another company. I'm going to pretty much rule them out on that basis.
And then obviously we come to install after survey, after you're happy with everything. I mean, how was the install? Well,
I'd describe it as exciting. I was looking forward to it because I wanted this work done, and I'm really excited for the new system that I've got running in my house now. The actual install took a week. I think it was slightly longer than they anticipated, but towards the end of the week we had an extra guy in to help with the solar panels. Yeah. So in a week I had a heat pump system up and running, my old boiler and all the pipe work out and gone, and 10 solar panels on my roof and all the electrics that go with that in my garage. I was really impressed. And the guys, Fred and Richard, worked really hard.
If there was someone else, in your position before knowing that they wanted solar panels and thinking about a heat pump, if they were in your position back when you started, what would you say to them? And ultimately, would you recommend Assembly Renewables to someone in your position?
I would 100% recommend Assembly Renewables, and that is for the reasons that I've touched on, really. But I just think you are for joined up service. The communication is excellent. I felt it was a personal service, or I feel that because I do feel like if I've got any questions now, when I'm only just, I've had it up and running for less than a month. If I've got any questions now, there are several people who I could go to. I got confidence from the process that you set up leading up to that installation. The installation itself, I just cannot fault those guys. They were clean. I think I would highly recommend the company.